Do you live with debilitating pain? Do you have pain that you don't know why it's there or where it's come from, and you want it gone, and you found that there's no one that can help you with it? If you do, then you'd probably be surprised to hear that your body was meant to be a fortress. It was meant to keep you safe and to keep you protected. It has walls that keep everything inside safe, has guards watching out, keeping watch to see what's coming and what's dangerous and protecting you from that. But what happens when the fortress starts to protect you from more than just the bad things that are coming after you? In fact, it protects you from life.
You're listening to The Overprotective Brain, the companion podcast to the book by Dr. Sam Tyriver and Hayley DiMarco. Before we begin, a quick note. The content on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. If you are dealing with pain, injury, or any other health condition, please consult a qualified professional. Nothing you hear on this show should replace that conversation. Now here's Hayley and Dr. Sam.
I'm Hayley DiMarco, and I'm here today with Dr. Sam. Sam is part of one of the newest frontier of healthcare, where he talks about the intersection between mental health, physical, and neuroscience and pain. In fact, he's responsible for building the physical therapy programs in an intensive pediatric program, and he's teaching physical therapy, mind-body programs all over the country. So, Sam, I have a question for you. What is pain's most fundamental job?
Protection. We don't normally think about pain as being something helpful or good, but its sole job is to keep us alive and to point us to where the danger is. Normally, we consider pain as something bad, so we don't want pain, we want to get rid of pain, we want to stop pain. But what if you could think of like a drug that would just immediately poof away all your pain? You take the drug, no more pain. Sounds great, right? Mm-hmm. No, you would die. If you took that drug, you would be dead in a very short amount of time. People that are born without the ability to feel pain don't live long. People that sustain brain damage and they can no longer feel pain, they don't live long. You need pain.
Okay, so pain has a job. I get that. Its job is to protect you. But when it's out of proportion with its protection? I mean, I think of like an overprotective parent. Like you climb a tree and you fall out. Oh, your parent's like, no more climbing trees. Or you're running and you fall down and scrape your knee. Okay, no more running. And pretty soon the parent's so like wanting to protect you that they've locked you in the house and you can just look out the window and watch everybody else's life go by. I mean, that's really what overprotective pain is.
It makes you a prisoner.
Exactly.
Pain, like I said, should be helpful. It should point you to what's wrong, and then you know what's wrong, so you deal with it and you fix the problem. But sometimes pain grows out of proportion, or it starts pointing you to things that maybe aren't really a problem, and that's where it becomes overprotective. And just like an overprotective parent, you can become a prisoner inside your own body just because of overprotective pain.
I can remember when all this got started because I first came to you and was telling you about my migraine. I was having migraines at least once a week for a couple of days for 10 years probably. That was a lot. It was just nonstop. And I wanted to know the answer, and I hadn't found it. In all these years, I hadn't found it. So I came to you, and I was talking to you about it, and you started opening up my mind to this idea, which is really is on the bleeding edge of pain science, that the fact that pain serves a purpose. I don't really think about it like that very often. I hadn't when I walked into your office. But it serves a purpose until it just overlives that purpose, and it starts to become, as you said, we've called it overprotective. And so as we were talking, I think you'd asked me at some point, is your pain acute or chronic, early on? And I listened to those words, and that's when I thought, those don't really make sense to me, because it feels acute. It feels like it's really serious, because I thought kind of that's what you meant. And then, but it's definitely chronic. And so I remember asking you, why do we call it that? I understand why PTs call it that, but why do you say that to the average person? What if you just called it overprotective pain? Because then the light goes off, and I'm like, oh, wait, it's not. It's overprotective. It's doing more than it should. So we have then overprotective pain, and then what's the other alternative to that?
Helpful pain. And Hayley, when you said acute, chronic, I don't know what that doesn't make sense to me. I know. I hate those terms. I've always hated those terms. They apply a chronicity to your pain. Well, that doesn't tell you anything about the nature of the pain itself. So when you say my pain is overprotective, it's keeping me from living my life, it's holding me prisoner. Yup, that's overprotective pain. Helpful pain is the opposite. It's still pain, but it points you to a direction of what's wrong. It helps you identify a problem so you can find a solution.
Okay, so then what I'm starting to think, then I hear what you're saying. It helps you find a solution. But what if you were talking to somebody who has a real chronic tissue issue, like they have arthritis or they have lipedema, or they have something that is a tissue problem and it's not going away? Is their pain automatically overprotective because it's been going on for 10 years?
It's such a good question, and I'm going to answer you with an analogy. What happens if you burn your chicken in the kitchen and your smoke alarm goes off? Do you try to unburn the chicken? You can't. You turn off the alarm. And that's what overprotective pain is for people with these chronic tissue issues. They have these tissue issues that last for years. Their brain is doing the right thing. It's protecting them. It's saying, hey, you've got arthritis in your knee. Hey, you've got endometriosis. Hey, you've got hyperlipidemia, or whatever the chronic diagnosis that's going away is. It's telling you, but we don't need to keep listening to that alarm. If only we could turn that alarm off, or at least turn it down.
Right. So what we're really talking about is, does the amount of pain, is it helpful? Is it helping you realize there needs to be more protection here and I got to be careful? Or is it pushing you into this, be careful about that, be careful about that, be careful about that? Because that's what happens with those of us who experience this overprotective pain, or what traditionally medicine is called chronic, I suppose, is that it starts to shrink your world so much that it tells you all these things are wrong. And it kind of makes you feel like, for me, I felt like there was something wrong with my brain. Like my body's broken. Like now I am an 80-year-old. I just arrived at 80, decades before I was supposed to be there. So a lot of people feel like, well, what's wrong with my brain? It's all in my head.
This is not all in your head. I hear it so often. Sam, I'm told it's all in my head. Get over it. Mind over matter. And that is total garbage. You don't have to do that. You can get over the pain. The pain is very real. We can substantiate your pain if we had a functional MRI machine. It does not live in your head. There are ways to turn that alarm down. And you're an example of this when you said, that my pain is in my head. I'm wondering, can I do this? Can I do this thing? I'm supposed to go on this trip. And have you ever worried that you wouldn't be able to go on a transatlantic cruise or a trip to Italy or a trip anywhere in the world because, I don't think my knees can take it because of the arthritis, or my back pain is so bad I could never make the plane flight. That's awful. What if there was a way that you could retrain that alarm system to tone it down a little bit? We know the problem is there. Let's tone it down so you can live your life.
Right. So when you told me that your body is a fortress, I remember just the thing I thought was, why does mine feel like a prison? How is it a fortress when I'm literally trapped inside of it? And that's what it was. That's what it had come to. It's that I had limited myself in so many things beyond just what the original thing was, that I couldn't get out of this prison. My brain was just building this. Well, I want to protect you. And so if you don't do that, we'll be much safer. Like if you don't go on the transatlantic cruise, you'll be better. Like that's going to hurt too much. And so that became my own kind of prison. So what is your brain learning from? Why is it building this? When you have a fortress, seems like a good place to live. Why is it then building the prison out of it?
Pain is learned. So the more pain you experience, the better you get at creating pain. We have a notion about pain. The more pain I experience in my life, I will have a higher tolerance for pain. And that notion's wrong. That's the opposite. The more pain you experience in your life, the better you get at creating pain, or the better your brain gets at creating pain.
My gosh. Most people have never heard that before.
No, we live through, I hear all the time in my clinic, Sam, I've lived with pain for so long, I have a high tolerance for pain. But you don't build tolerance for pain through more pain. You build tolerance through pain by shutting down the alarm system. So
it makes me think that it feels like, for me anyway, that the average person that struggles with this kind of overprotective pain is that their brain is predicting the pain that's going to come. It's not there. Like if I'm going on a transatlantic cruise, I'm not there yet. I'm predicting that it's going to be pain, and so that stops me from doing anything. Right? So it's just this prediction model. The brain does tend to run on what it's gambling a little bit, isn't it?
That's exactly what overprotective pain is, and I think it's one of the hallmark differences between overprotective and helpful pain. Overprotective pain predicts and it anticipates. Real research is done that shows you can ask somebody with horrible back pain or arthritis, you can put functional MRI on these people, and you can look at their electrical activity in real time and see, okay, just imagine swinging a golf club and you see fMRI light up. Just thinking about something creates pain. They're not even doing anything. So that is a perfect example of overprotective pain. It's preventing you from living your life, and it's preventing you from doing the things you want to do, and you're not even doing those things, and you're in pain.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what we're saying is we're building this new way of looking at pain, that it's either helpful, which is really great to know that it's helpful, tells you now we know what to do. We know how to treat it. We know how long you're going to have to live with it, right? And then it's gone. And then we have overprotective pain, which lingers. So for someone who's living with, let's just hone in on someone who's living with a chronic issue like arthritis. How can they tell if it's helpful or if it's staying too long, if it's overprotective?
It's the nature of what's causing the pain. So if you think about the person with arthritis, you can't unarthritis a knee or a bone or whatever, but you can turn down the alarm. The same as my analogy with the chicken. You can't unburn the chicken, but you can turn down the alarm. So in a sense, their pain is helpful. It's pointing them in this direction. It says, hey, you've got this issue, it's tissue issue with your knees, but we can't fix the tissue issue. So instead of focusing on the knees and the tissue issue, let's focus on the alarm instead.
Okay. So that sounds very promising for those of us who live with overprotective pain, and hence the reason for the book, The Overprotective Brain, which is what we're going to go into further as we have our subsequent podcasts. So I'm looking forward to talking more about this. And if you're interested in reading about it and you're just in a hurry because you want to know about overprotective pain, you can find the book, The Overprotective Brain, where books are sold. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to The Overprotective Brain. If today's conversation helped something click and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a review wherever you listen. The book, The Overprotective Brain, is available on Amazon, and you can find our socials over at overprotectivebrain.com. We'll see you next time.